Joining us now is Raymond Choi, the Senior Power Systems Controls Engineer, and Mike McLaren, Senior SCADA Engineer with HV Logic based in Calgary, Alberta. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
So can you tell us a bit about HV Logic and the work that you do?
HV Logic primarily focuses on the integration of digital systems that are specific to the electric utility and power industry.
Who make up your customers?
We're currently working with TransAlta, AltaLink, Canadian Natural Resources, and FCOR.
Right, you mentioned CNRL, Canadian National Resources. Can you tell us more about them, since they, I think, are going to be the basis of our talk today?
CNRL is basically one of the largest public traded energy producers in the world. They're an excellent client with a strong, diversified global portfolio of energy assets. And for them, operational reliability is critically important as their facilities are always on.
Now, can you tell us the story of how you started working with them?
Sure, yeah. So we started with a simple request. We were just called to help troubleshoot and resolve an issue with a vendor product that they currently had in place. As a vendor neutral systems integrator for the electric utility and power industry, we made some recommendations outside of the single vendor perspective that ultimately brought them a reliable and working solution with VTScada. It replaced a system that they were experiencing a lot of problems with.
So can you tell us specifically about the problem you were trying to solve with this application?
Yeah, the existing system was an energy distribution management system. And I guess in general, it just wasn't reliable. The DMP3 driver that's commonly found in power systems just was constantly failing, and it would stop communicating. The data would be stale, and there would be no indications of the stale data. That obviously had an impact to the high voltage operations team. The high voltage operations team just lost trust in the system as it could no longer provide adequate and reliable information for plant operations.
So tell us about the process and the sites that are being monitored.
Sure. So VTScada was implemented as a starting point to a growing energy distribution management system. The implemented systems monitor all the high voltage assets within the Horizon plant. So it was imperative to use a utility standardized protocol such as DMP3 so we could accurately have sequence of event recording at the sites.
Now, you were working with VTScada. Can you tell us the story of how you came to start using that product?
Well, basically, VTScada is an accepted platform for CNRL. They're moving in the direction of more or less standardizing on the product. On the power side, it was not brought in yet. They primarily used it along with the other drivers for oil and gas equipment and oil and gas products. For us, we're very familiar with the power side, obviously, and the DMP3 driver. There are very specific requirements for the DMP3 driver that we needed to ensure we implemented so that it worked well in a high voltage environment.
So tell me, what sites does this system monitor?
In general, basically, the sites monitors the high voltage facilities. So we monitor the high voltage substations. We also monitor the generation facilities. They got cogens there in which we monitor the associated facilities for the cogens. And that's primarily the basis of the monitoring system.
Right. And now, what were your goals in designing this new system?
The initial goal is to just provide a reliable real-time monitoring of the high voltage assets. The long-term goal that we have in mind is to integrate more digital assets into the system, allow improved visibility, and also at some point we want to get to the possibility of doing some predictive analysis on their assets using the data that we're collecting.
Now, we talked about VTScada software. What were some of the things about that software that made it apt for an application of this kind?
When we first started the project, or in the evaluation stage, we needed to evaluate various products kind of moving forward and accepting a platform that was specific to the power system application. VTScada worked very well. There was some very nice inherent features that are part of VTScada, such as the seamless transition redundancy, the version management system, and just the ability to customize the application to our needs. Those are all very nice features. But some of the big requirements for us specifically for the power systems was the ability to update the system online and live. There was also a very well implemented native DMP3 driver. We wanted to avoid using a DMP3 driver that was, external or OPC based or something like that. So this was a very nice feature that the DMP3 driver was developed by Trihedral. And this was very important for our application.
So what can operators do now that they couldn't before?
I think one of the big things that Raymond just touched on as well is the custom applications and solutions. So whether it be on the cloud or client servers, when we say custom, we can really dig deep into the power system requirements and provide a solution because we're electrical engineers first. We aim to understand the power system requirement, then we look to provide the digital solution for that.
That's great. So I always like to ask, what are you most proud of in the finished system?
We're always proud to just provide a solution that works well and the customer is happy with the result at the end. Sometimes no excitement means things went really well and everything operated and ran, as we would expect. We basically, with this system, it was a live operating plant and everything, the plant had to be operational while we implemented the system and while we worked on the live RTUs. I think we were proud that we were able to execute the system pretty much seamlessly. It kind of flew in under the radar. We implemented everything, no disruptions to existing plant operations, and then we got the system up and running for the high voltage operators again.
That's great. So you've been using VTScada for a while. Did you ultimately take any training along the way?
Yeah, two of us attended the basic course here in Calgary. But I would say most of our experience was gained through the execution of the projects and actually doing the work. But I will say Trihedral has provided great support, very responsive. So it was very helpful as we worked through trying to get to this solution for the customer.
I'm glad to hear it. So tell me about how this application handles redundancy.
So the systems are implemented on virtualized redundant servers. While also having two redundant VT servers, we have a seamless failover system now. So it mitigates the risk of failure a little better while providing a degree of management and disaster recovery options if one of the servers was to fail.
So how did it go during the integration and commissioning of this application?
In the high voltage industry, it's important to be able to perform an upgrade seamlessly on a live operating power plant system. So that can bring its own challenges and definitely some extra risk. We updated the remote sites, GE D20 RTUs that were on site, and we migrated to the new EDMS system live. So we were able to kind of overbuild the system. So we still had the old product running, and we just added new links to the VTScada platform. So we performed a live cutover during commissioning. The system's fully in service now, and the operators provided positive feedback on VTScada.
Well, congratulations. So now what advice would you give to another utility or another organization looking to implement this kind of system?
I would say know your application. There are a few products in the utility and power industry that are fairly canned solutions. So they work well for certain specific applications, but as soon as you go custom or larger applications that are required, such as in wind, solar, gas, or hydro generation, it's important to have an application that's highly customizable and flexible for everything you want to throw at it.
So now that the application is up and running, what are your plans for it?
Due to the digital transformation in all aspects of our lives and the power system industry is just anticipated to continuously grow, we intend to continue to provide highly specialized industries-focused services to this industry while delivering solutions that serve the industry well in both an operational and economical perspective. We're constantly looking to be creative in trying to bring alternative solutions to an industry that is not necessarily moving as fast as the technology is.
So if someone's watching this and they're excited about what you just talked about, how do they get in touch with you?
For us, we're always glad to have people reach out to us and start the conversation. We can be reached by phone, email, website, and LinkedIn. Various platforms definitely would be glad to help in any kind of way.
Well, today we've had Raymond Choi, Senior Power Systems Control Engineer, and Mike McLaren, Senior SCADA Engineer with HV Logic in Calgary, Alberta. Thanks a lot, gentlemen.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.